So, before getting to the Twitter segment, I have two things. One, I was looking at part one of this video, and I was looking at the suggested videos. So there's, stuff about the new Lego Star Wars, and stuff like this, and then look at that recap channel. Red Dead recap channel, which is a different one. Another recap channel, same recap channel. And I think that's it. But yeah, bunch of recap channels, probably because I put out a video that had the title recap channels in it, even though that the context of the video was me saying that I hate recap channels because I'm still adamant in my opinion that not even the opinion, the fact that recap channels are ruining cinema. And I'm right before I say what I'm about to say. I do not believe this. It's just that it's a what if, we'll say. YouTube likes to say that they are, their content creators are putting out films, putting out cinema. Like, there's nothing of the cringiest things on YouTube. Like, say my videos. And yes, I did just call my videos cringe. So, according to YouTube's, we'll say morals, for lack of a better word, my videos are art. They are cinema. They are film. So, what if YouTube is promoting these cinema recap channels because they believe they want YouTube to 100% replace real cinema, real film? So from now on, instead of making films, instead of showing it to critics and reviewers, so that the reviews can come out before the film is released, what if people make films and they show it to these cinema recap guys, and then these recap guys make recaps? So no one is actually watching movies other than the recap guys, and then the recap guys recap it. That's a nightmare. Just because I know it's just because I'm a film, what you would call a film buff, but that is completely Orwellian to cinema. The second thing, and this pains me to say it, but Legends of Tomorrow was cringe. There was a scene in season 6, episode 5, I want to say, the Satan is Apprentice, where at the very start, a character who is black walks back to your house, and her neighbor, who they've never met before, her neighbor notices and say, "Oh, are you the housekeeper? I'm so glad that the owner's got a housekeeper because the place is an absolute mess." And she goes, "Sorry, I own the house? Really? You don't seem the type." "What do you mean type? Because I'm black?" No. There was absolutely no evidence whatsoever that the person, that guy was saying it because you're black. You probably just think that because he's old, don't you? Oh, all old people are racist? No, not true. But then they said something based again, but I'm sorry, but I don't remember it. Anyway, back to Twitter. This Twitter as of 19 past 8 p.m. on Sunday, the 10th of April, 2022, part 2. Idiots who buy into everything they read in the paper can get pretty annoying, especially when they're still parroting 5-year-old lies. You mean 6-year-old lies. Hardly lies, it happened. You still did it. Do I agree? No, but it happened. So you think a blatant joke video trumps being a member of a party whose goal is literally the opposite of fascism? You're dumber than I thought. didn't say that once. You still did it, and now you're doing something better about what you did, so well done you. But you still did it. Just because you're doing something to fix slash better doesn't mean you didn't do it. You do know what jokes are, right? Yes, like I said, if you read what I wrote, I didn't agree with what happened because of it, nor did it offend me, nor did I care. But, well, you keep saying you don't care, but the fact that you keep on going on proves that you do care. But anyway, but you still did it, and they deemed it as wrong, so that's why I said it's ironic coming from you, who yourself should know that people do silly things. I didn't actually make any negative comment on the graffiti whatsoever. Also, your comment was that I'm a literal Nazi. Your basis for that was a blatant joke video that I made. So we can gather from everything you've said so far is 1. You're angry about something I said about the graffiti. 2. You don't actually know what a Nazi is. 3. You don't know what jokes are or how they work. 4. You are now shifting your arguments because you realised how bad they were. 5. You literally have pain. Don't say it literally, Marcus. I haven't shifted arguments because before I said 90% of what I said, I didn't argue with the punishment, nor am I angry. Where have I defined Nazi? Someone doing a Nazi salute would probably deem them a Nazi. Well, not if it's a joke. And you're trying your hardest to take moral ground to get lulls. No, I'm just laughing at you because you can't defend your little Nazi comment and now you're raging about it. I definitely define it quite well, considering you were charged and had an appeal dismissed and labelled incompetent. The charge was for causing offence, not being a Nazi. Both the judge and even the prosecutor admitted during the trial that I am not a Nazi. Scottish intelligence also confirmed I'm not going for it all. Not after going through all my computers and finding no evidence of it either. If mate, you're taking L after L here. No, really, considering your 5 points were molded to fit your argument and you were defended one of them as well. Sorry that I wasn't in the courtroom, but when someone charged you for teaching their dog a Nazi salute, you'd assume and say the obvious, wouldn't you? You'd assume, and there we have it. You just screw yourself. Yes, you assumed, and you got it really wrong, but you didn't. That didn't stop you slapping crap and pretending it was the truth. You're proving yourself wrong now. Nah, pretty much extremely wrong considering I'm in a party that preaches the literal polar opposite in Nazism. Look, man, I know this may sound shocking, but newspaper articles and journals who are angry at me because I made fun of them doesn't really represent reality. Now, of course not, but how can you say the polar opposite of it when you taught your dogs to salute? Because it was a joke. Because it was a joke, mate. You actually don't know what jokes are. See if I say, why did the chicken cross the road? Do you think I actually saw a chicken crossing the road and I'm asking you about it? You're trying to take the piss, but it's just no working G-your-cell piece. Trying? Lol. I'm just laughing at you because you tried to call me a literal Nazi and now you're wriggling and raging because you can't back it up. Just be a normal person and say you're wrong and move on. I'm definitely not raging or wiggling. LMAO, you're the so-called politician. What do you mean so-called politician? He's literally part of a political party. Like, what else do you need to do to be a politician? And all that taking your time out of your day to reply to someone mentioning the irony, and you also have been wrong throughout this argument and also have moved on or accepted it or admitted you're wrong. The comment was you are a literal Nazi. So far, your evidence was a blatant joke video I made in an article that talked about things other people said. Mate, you have proven absolutely nothing, and now you're having a tantrum about it. Haha. As of you, maybe you're not a literal Nazi, but with the things you've said and done, you can see why that assumption would be made. 1-0, you on the I'm not a Nazi war, still ironic. You posting to complain about anyone. Thank you, really took a while, but eventually we got you to admit you were wrong and made that up. What things have I said and done that propagate Nazi ideology? I'm listening. You taught your dog to salute. Holy crap, you literally don't know what jokes are. Hey mate, are Mitchell and Webb Nazis? So I'm just going to briefly talk about this. Mitchell and Webb are two comedians that have a sketch show, and they had a sketch where they're both Nazis, and one of them says, mean, have you ever noticed that our caps have these like skulls on them? Yeah, and are we the bad guys? Good for you, but look pretty bad being in the line of work you are now. Your argument gets proven wrong for a fourth time, and yeah, you yet again just pretend it never happened, LMFAO. Like you're doing then. You didn't prove anything wrong. I asked you to prove your statement, and you couldn't, but eventually you admitted you were wrong. Almost every article on Scots Wikipedia is written by one American teenager who does not speak Scots, and it's just writing English in an accent. If you have a multilingual language model, this fakery might be your entire training data for Scots. Turns out an American teen identifies as an INTP brony, single-handedly written almost the entirety of Scots Wikipedia despite not knowing the language at all. Scottish Redditors suspect he may have done more damage to the Scottish language than anyone else in history. Really? Telekinesis is a form of moving objects with your mind. I can't do accents, man. Bad news for Scots everywhere, Marcus. This was doing the rounds a while back. A lot of people were furious about it, but personally I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was pretty funny. There are the Scots before. There were a bunch of languages from Scotland used at varying levels. Gaelic still used, but rarely, mostly in the Western Isles. Scots still sort of used, but mostly by older people, though most Scots speak English and mix it with Scots words. There are also the really old school ones, like Pictish and Brittonic, though those are pretty much lost and no one speaks those. Another funny thing is most Scots think they're just using slang words when they aren't. They're using words of the Scottish language. I was gonna say, like, you mean like this? But I'd be here all day saying a bunch of things that I've heard Scottish people say. I was gonna say canny because anytime Marcus says I can't, he always says I canny, and it's weird. Surprisingly, like when I watched, when I was really big on YouTube, like a 4 year period I used to talk about, I would always try and pick up like traits off of the people I liked. I can't think of an example though, but like an example would be if I watched Marcus in that period, I would have picked up his use of saying canny. I assume that's a Scottish thing and not just Marcus. I did do it once recently, but I hope that's it because I really don't like. I find it cringe doing that, especially like that's not me being myself. Anyway, Beastie, Keach, Wesson, Clippy, Bumful, Sleekit, Drukit, Glykit, Havron, Shugle, Scunneret are all Scots words that are commonly used. I'm sorry for butchering it. But teachers and parents will sometimes scold the kids for using slang. It's not slang, it's our language. Unless you're literally speaking Gaelic, wouldn't it be more accurate to call it a dialect than a language? Oh, loud, if you ever visit Scotland, never ever say that. Beastie. Insects or some small animals. Okay, I've heard that. Quiche. Crab. As in literal crab. Never heard of it. I'm going to assume that because of the definition, be quiet, I'm going to assume it's pronounced Clippy, someone who snitches. Bumful and mess, all tangled up, etc. Sliggit, sly, sneaky, quiet. Treachet, wet, dry, thirsty. Glycate, stupid. Havering, talking a lot of irrelevant crap and wasting time. Shugle, to give something to shake, like when someone says Jimmy, the door. Scunneret, to be really tired, I use this one a lot. Hackett is a great one, you should call women Hackett, they love it. I'm gonna assume it means slut. If is Scots descended from what Picts spoke are completely different, parallel a little bit. There are some influences. Do not call women Hackett. Yes, call women Hackett. Do not listen to my wife. Listen to me, your language instructor. Well, you know what, Marcus? If women love it, why don't you call your wife Hackett?